Top of the morning to you. Today is August 20th. It's Thursday. And today's the day that we look at the 13th chapter of John. And I want to rename the 13th chapter of John the love chapter. Now, 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is always called the love chapter. Love is patient, love is kind. You're familiar with the Pauline writing there. But I wanted to challenge us to think about this chapter in John's Gospel as being about deep love. Because it begins with the foot washing. Jesus takes his outer robe off and wraps a towel around his waist and begins to wash his disciples' feet. It is breathtakingly beautiful, humble, and loving. And he gets to explain what he's doing to his disciples because of Peter. Peter puts his freshly washed foot in his mouth again. Peter says, "No, you'll never wash my feet, Lord." And Jesus says, "Unless I wash your feet, you can't be with me." And then he says, "Oh, well then, in that case, not only my feet, but my head and my hands." And Jesus backs him up, backs him down and says, whoa. You are already washed. You need to be rewashed because you are clean. You are all clean, except one of you, because you're going to betray me. But when Jesus gets to explain what he's doing and why he's doing this physical act of love, of humility, of saying, delineating who's servant among you and who's greatest among you, who is greatest among you will be a servant, and who is the servant will be great. Peter, he just reacts ridiculously in this scenario as well. Just saying, you'll never wash my feet. It's very dramatic. It's with Peter here. And after he finishes washing their feet, they're still in that, if you can imagine being in the upper room where they were for the Last Supper. This is sort of the scene that we have, very intimate. It's an evening time, and they're up there together. Then there is dipping the bread in the bowl. Jesus says, "The one who dips the bread in the bowl with me will be the one to betray me." And the way John writes this, the drama plays out like a soap opera almost. It's just very intense. You could almost imagine the intense staring, the words unspoken between them when this happens. And then when Jesus says, "Go and do what you're going to do," to Judas, the disciples don't understand. It says in John's Gospel, John's commentary on this is the disciples didn't understand what they meant. Maybe he meant that he was going to go prepare things because he held the purse. So it's sort of like, no, but we all know, the reader knows what's going to happen, what this is about. And Jesus knew and Judas knew. So this drama unfolds. And then in verse 34 and 35, we see this beautiful statement. And I'm going to couple it with like a bookend. So the first statement before 34 and 35 is in the very beginning of the chapter. We see Jesus. This is a commentary it's John's words again, and it says that before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew his hour had come, and that he was going to depart from the world. Having loved his own who were with him in the world, he loved them till the end. And so this is the second verse. Oh, I think it's the first. It's included in the first verse. It's like the second sentence, third sentence, and of the first verse, very beginning of the chapter. Having loved his own in this world, he loved them till the end. So we have this love image, and then he washes their feet. And then you have the drama of dipping the food, the bread in the bowl, one who dips with me together. And then Jesus, after Judas leaves, it was night, it says. It said it was evening. And then he gives them this new commandment. They left the place, and Jesus said to them, now the Son of Man has been glorified. And he talks about the glory of God. And where I'm going, you cannot come. And he says, I give you, this, if I'm going somewhere that you can't come to, I'm going to give you this new commandment. So this is what he bestows upon them, this new commandment. And this is what I was talking about, verse 34 through 35. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. See the love, he having loved his own while he was with them in the world, he washed their feet. He graciously let himself be betrayed. He could have stopped Judas, but he didn't. He said, go do what you have to do. And then he gave them this new commandment. You will be known as my disciples by the way you love each other. This is the love chapter, John 13. And then all four Gospels have this Peter's denial of Christ. Poor Peter. You identify a lot with Peter because obviously, did I say that before? He put his freshly washed foot in his mouth. He does that a lot. But here's really bad too. Peter denies Christ, and Simon Peter said, Lord, where are you going? Peter didn't get it. So we need to give ourselves a break sometimes when we don't understand everything that Jesus and God is doing in the world, right? Because Peter is the rock on which I would build the church. Peter is the number one disciple. He's mentioned in all four Gospels. He is the guy. And he even has an epistle or two attributed to his name. And he's written all about in the Acts of the Apostles. So here, Peter's a main guy. He's a main guy. And he says, Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you. And Jesus answered, will you lay down your life for me? Very truly, I tell you, before the cock crows, you will have denied me 3 times. It's almost a sarcastic question. Will you lay down your life for me? You're gonna deny me. You're not gonna stay with me. You're not gonna hang. You're all gonna disperse afraid. And to me, there's still love there, right? Jesus knows he's going to be denied by Peter, but he still loves him. He still loves him. So he's not only preaching about the love, giving the commandment about love, but he's exemplifying that love, washing their feet, eating with the one who would betray him, dipping their food in the bowl together. And then, of course, with Peter, it's just all love. It's forgiveness. It's friendship. It's the love chapter, John 13. So enjoy this and remember these words, that he loved him. He loved his own. He calls them his own in this world. He would love them until the end. And that's how the chapter starts. It starts with love and it ends with love. God bless you.